I being a plus size person most of my life, I carry my own insulation with me. So long sleeve shirts, it's got to be really cold before I go long sleeve.
Well,
shirts.
But there are advantages to that. Your pipes don't freeze up.
This is true.
You're good.
True. I don't have to call somebody to put in more insulation.
That's
but
right.
I've lost a lot of my insulation over the past 4 months.
Yes, you have. Doing quite well.
And I found last night that I actually was feeling a little bit chilly. Don't tell my wife that.
Oh.
She won't let me. She'll make me turn the heat on if she finds out I'm cold too.
That would be bad. Well, I got that same problem myself.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm living with the only woman in the world that sleeps under an electric blanket in the mid part of summer.
Well, so far we have not gone to that. We shall see. We shall see. We need some call-ins this morning. We want to help you with whatever projects you have going right now. And maybe you got stuck on that one last week and you painted yourself into a corner again.
It can happen.
John can help you with that too. 731-891-6161 or the text line at 410-7560. And there we are. So let's get on with it. If you don't call in, then John's going to have to sit there in front of that microphone and
babble for a good hour.
Yeah, all morning long, and he don't like that.
Well, it's all right. We'll do anything to get to 9 o'clock. But there's a lot of things we can start talking about this morning. It is cold and people are forgetful. So those of you that have not called ahead to get your heat checked out, today is a good reminder, because if you had gone a little earlier, you may not have to wait now, because you're not going to be just one. There's going to be hundreds that have waited to the last minute, and they go out and they flip the heat on and nothing happens.
Yes.
So do yourself a favor and turn your heat on. Make sure it's working. Get that little stench of dog hair off of it.
That's the main reason that I don't turn mine on as early as my wife would like for me to, because of that stank. She asked me the other day, she said, is there anything we can do? Can we vacuum something, clean something? I said, no, not really. It's the dirt and stuff that collects on the burners, right?
Yeah, that's it. But, it's not near as bad as it used to be. Now, I don't know how it was in your house, but when I was growing up, we had a floor furnace.
Yeah.
And it was a ritual. Every October, mid-October, you had to straighten out a wire clothes hanger. Mm-hmm. Put a hook, take your pliers and put a hook on the end of it to hold your wooden match.
Yep.
But before you even went to that, you had to get the vacuum cleaner out with a long nozzle. Mm-hmm. And you'd pull the grate up.
Right.
And you would suck all the stuff that had fallen down in the furnace, you'd suck all that out.
Right.
And the good part about that is I get to keep the change.
Yeah, I mean,
because there'll always be some pennies and nickels and maybe a dime in there.
Yeah, you can make upwards of $1.18 just for the season change.
Then that's the truth, but I never figured out how that money got in there, because it's not like you changed your drawers on top of the floor furnace.
You didn't?
Well,
it was nice and warm there.
We dried our clothes on top of the floor furnace. We had one of them little accordion clothes hangers that you put everything on and dried it. Man. And and my brother realized one day that wasn't a tent, because he crawled under there and burned himself.
Looked like a waffle for about a month.
Yeah, he had waffle feet for a long time, bless his heart.
We were talking about me being a plus size a moment ago. A kind texter has sent in a message that says, no, you're just healthy.
Healthy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm
right.
Healthy enough for two people.
That's right.
We do have another text. You want to go here?
Let's go.
Let's see what this is. John, what is the point of using fiber in concrete? Also, is it necessary to cut control joints, say in a garage slab?
Oh, yes, and it has. In my world, it doesn't have any purpose. But anyway, let's talk about the fiber.
Okay.
Everybody puts fiber in there. It helps with holding things together. But the problem with the fiber is that people think it's a substitute for rebar and wire reinforcement. Mm-hmm. So if you want to put the fiber in there, you can. It helps in the finishing process, and it helps with your top coating a little bit. But it also, if you're doing a real slick slab, sometimes those little fibers will stick up, so it's a little rough on your bare feet. Grabs hold of it, but the assembly. And it's kind of like the bones in your arms.
Inflict myself upon you.
Well, that's as bad as the three-legged hog, which we'll get into later on. Anyway,
I forgot to remind everybody we're on the Yall.com Facebook page, Facebook Live right now. John Grawl is over here.
Some audio problems, trying to fix it.
Okay, he's working on some audio problems, so hang with us. You're just going to have to bask in the glow of John and I's countenance.
Read lips.
Read lips. That's right. That's right. And it'll also be on News Talk West Tennessee, News Talk Jackson, Facebook pages, and also later in the day it'll be on the Yall.com YouTube channels. We're everywhere.
I didn't even know all that.
Yes, man, I'm telling you.
I strolled across the Yall.com one time, and that lasted a little while. So
Yeah, you got to looking at yourself.
yeah, it was like I wish I'd combed my hair, and one of those things. But anyway,
Yep. That's the only drawback. Normally, doing early morning radio, you don't necessarily have to get up and take a shower before you come down here. But when you're going to be on camera, you have to.
Yeah, I got a face for radio, but
you
know.
And me both, man.
Yeah,
you and
one of
me
them things.
both. So anyway, call us this morning. It is 731-891-6161. Put you right in John's pocket. He'll take care of you. Or text it, as we've already received a couple this morning, 731-410-7560.
You know, it was talking about. I was telling you to check your heater out because it's time. It's going to get cold, and then my favorite thing. I'll say this 100 times.
Yep.
You got to take the hose loose from the outside faucet. Now, yesterday,
Yep.
I went to a house that hadn't had the water on for a long time.
Uh-oh.
There was a person didn't live there anymore. She's she's not on top of the ground. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And we turned the water on, and to check it out, and we heard water running, and it was under the house. And it was where the water line that ran to her outside spigot had blown loose. Ooh. And because there was a water hose attached to it.
Yep.
I know that because I looked down on the ground and there was the hose and the faucet was screwed into the end of it. Just the pipe had blown off.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, it was a full-blown geyser.
Yeah, I heard that.
And it's the thing that will happen, because see, here's what's happened. You'll go out there today because I told you so and take your hose loose, and then it's going to turn warm.
Yeah, and you're going
to pull it out and you're going to wash your car one more time.
Yeah.
And then you're going to forget I told you to take it loose. So you're going to leave it there. Then we're going to get a hard freeze.
Yeah.
And then you're going to call me because you're going to have water coming in the house or under the house the next time you turn it on. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things.
You have forgotten one major thing about winterizing your hose situation out there. You got to go wherever it is that you keep these things and put your $4 styrofoam covers on there.
Tacky.
I don't know who actually built the house that I live in now, and it's a nice house.
It is.
We've made a lot of improvements on it since we've been there. But the one thing that they did falls under the DUM clause of any contract. My house, the hose bibs, the hose things coming out of the walls for the outside, one of them is on the south side. One of them is on the north side. There is no water spigot in the front of my house and no water spigot in the back of my house.
You know why?
I don't.
Because there wasn't a bathroom in the front where your living room was to get the water off of, and it was too far to run another pipe over there to it. See, just think about it. Now,
I'm going to quit looking for this guy then.
The one on the north side, doesn't it back up to your bathroom?
Yeah, we ran into that.
That's right.
Yeah.
We literally did.
Yes, we did.
Could have been a flood. I don't know. And the one on the south side, it's another bathroom, right? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So that's why they're there, because they can branch right off of that pipe, go right through the wall, and there you go.
Yep.
See, it's notorious that people do that.
Yep.
And the thing that just gets me is people will have these Whirlpool tubs or fiberglass tub showers. And because there's a little extra room in the void behind them, they'll stick a faucet there, and then it'll break. And it's basically impossible to get to that to repair. You have to tear the walls out. And it's
I'm getting these pictures of what happened about a year ago.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, it's a fur reach with a short arm. I'm
telling you. Well, since you straightened me out on that, if you'll listen closely in Radio Land, that's me putting my dumb sticker on my head. I never thought of that.
Yeah, that's why. It's just easy. It's all about money, Jim.
Well, I should have known. Follow the money, right?
Well, it is the money because, it costs more money to run a pipe all by itself, to run out there and toward Elizabeth's house and put you a spigot just because that makes sense to have one there.
This show would have been a whole lot handier.
Would have been. But, that's why they make more hose at the store.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
Go get a longer hose.
Well, that's what I do, and I even got smart. You ready for this one? Instead of when I wash my car, when I need the water in the front yard from the south spigot, I was having to throw the hose over the fence and then, pull it, and it was hanging up and all this stuff. Went to the small box store over at Ace Hardware and got me a 1-inch around hole bit.
Oh, me, say it in so.
Yes, sir. Cut myself a hole in yon fence and ran the hose through it. Ta-da!
And that in the off season, does Izzy peer through the hole so she can see what's going in the front yard?
Yeah, when our good friends over at West End Fence Company came and fixed my fence for me, it was falling down around itself. They actually re-drilled the holes for me. I didn't have to do that myself.
That's a fine bunch of people.
Fine bunch of people, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, Terry Hamlet, the owner there, they're great. They do all my fence work, too, and fix my gates and everything else.
That's why I called them, because I knew that's who you would call.
You're just cutting me out of everything, don't you?
I'm working.
I'm going to tear that dumb sticker off real slow so you hurt when I do it.
Oh, well, while we adjust the sticker, let's take about a 90-second commercial break. This is Tricks of the Trade on a beautiful Saturday morning in West Tennessee. We need to hear from you today. 731-891-6161 or text us at 731-410-7560. Be back in 2 minutes. Don't go away.
Authorized sales agent. We manage your printing so you can focus on what matters most to your business. XMC and Xerox now offer managed print services to help businesses keep track of what they're spending on printing and manage their resources to maximize their office equipment. The average employee prints over $500 worth of documents each year. With an organization of 30, that is over $15,000 annually. Let us show you how you can save thousands by contacting us or visiting our website at xmcinc.com.
Hey, this is Jimmy Leach inviting you to tune in to my show, The Investigator, every Saturday morning at 9 right here on the Talk of Jackson 93.1. My friend Brad McCoy and I talk about current headlining cases, how law enforcement really works, cold cases, serial killers, and much more. Plus, we'll have special guests like former state attorney generals, private detectives, gang experts, sheriffs and former sheriffs, chiefs of police, and many others. The Investigator with me, Jimmy Leach, every Saturday morning at 9 on the Talk of Jackson 93.1.
I don't feel like I'm 23 anymore. Lack of energy during the day, difficulty sleeping, reduced mental focus and memory, weight gain, including belly fats, reduced sexual desire, and performance. Studies show after the age of 30, most people produce 3 to 10% less hormones each year, and I felt it. I decided to do something about it. But I didn't want 152 shots of synthetic testosterone per year. What I discovered is changing my life. All testosterone replacement is not the same. Hormone pellets contain the same chemical structure as your body's natural hormones. They're placed under the skin and release bioidentical testosterone consistently to the bloodstream and last up to 6 months. Same thing with estrogen for females. I feel great. I don't want youth wasted on the young. I want it wasted on me. Feeling better for you can start with a simple phone call.
Dr. Shannon Bone at Advanced Rehab and Medical. It's 731-503-4277. It's 503-4277. Call today. 731-503-4277. You'll be glad you did.
This is WTJS, Alamo, Jackson, and WKBL, Covington, News Talk, West Tennessee.
That's exactly what it is, and that's where we are. It's 8:20 on this Saturday morning. Good to have you along. It's Tricks of the Trade with John Allen. Once again, 731-891-6161 puts you in the queue. That's the phone line. Give us a call. Victory Honda text is 731-410-7560, and we're talking about a little bit of everything this morning. We got concrete, we got hoses, we got holes in the fence.
And why do they call it a queue?
I don't know. I think it's an English sort of thing, you know.
What is a queue? What are you talking about?
A queue is a line.
A line.
Yes, in some countries, or some maybe even in the U.S. of A. Up in those what do you call those, Northern Americans? Yankee Americans.
Yankee Americans.
Yeah, some of them up there will say that. They'll, instead of getting line like we say, they'll say you need to queue up, or you need to get in the queue.
Huh.
So if somebody says that to you, they're not looking for a stick to play billiards with or a barbecue sandwich. They're trying to get you lined up.
Yeah, they called everything a barbecue up there.
I know. Barbecue.
That's a chicken on a rotisserie up there.
Barbecue is not a verb.
That's right.
Barbecue is a noun.
That's right.
And a noun that fits nicely between two pieces of bread.
And I am trying still to convey that message everywhere, even at my home.
You have taken that upon yourself.
Yeah, because I got a little Yankee American in there with me.
I know.
And she ain't right, but then again, she don't belong in the kitchen.
You're better off to leave her alone. And for the love of Pete, don't give her a bottle of hot sauce.
Oh, that is horrible.
You want to tell that story?
Let me tell that story.
Tell that story.
All right, we're everywhere this morning.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even remember what the circumstance were, but we had a little spat over something.
Yeah.
Don't remember what it was, but you know, it could have been the fact that maybe she didn't do anything in the kitchen because she don't know how. Could be, I don't know, but that's okay. I was blessed to learn that, and I don't mind doing it. But anyway, it was a Saturday, and you had given me something a while back, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But why don't we just go and take a phone call right now?
All right, let me see if we can get this person in the queue here. Go ahead.
The queue. Oh, good morning and welcome. How are you today?
Caller, you with me? 1 second. Let me. Yeah, hang on 1 second, caller. Let me make a switch here. Technical thing. It was nobody's fault but my own. Okay, I think we got you there. Go ahead, caller.
Okay.
There you are.
Yes, John, I was wondering, who do you recommend for if you have a problem with your well?
With your well, all right, let's see. There are several good well companies around here. The one that I use last, and I'm sure there's others, but there's a Cummings well service, I think, up in Medina. There is a McCarver well service here in around Spring Creek. And those are the two that I have personally used. There may be others, but I do know that when I called them, they came out and did a good job. And they're
Thank you so much.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you, caller. It's that simple, 731-891-6161. And you're right here where John is. What we were talking about is a little incident you had.
Yeah.
I had given you, I had been somewhere on vacation. I found a little bottle, because I know you like hot stuff.
Yeah.
Of a hot sauce known as Scorned Woman.
Oh, yes.
And you had put it in the cabinet to keep it out of reach from those who do not know how to use it properly.
That's exactly right.
And then
we had a little spat. Didn't know anything about it much. I still don't remember what it was, nothing serious. But I was sitting there on a Saturday and trying to watch an episode of The Three Stooges. So I decided it was time for me to have a ham sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And so the missus got up, and I think, well, I don't know that, but I'm going to tell this story anyway. I said, "You want a ham sandwich?" She says, "Yeah, I'll fix one." So she got up and fixed a ham sandwich. She says, "What do you want on it?" I said, "Well, you can put a little cheese on it, you can put a little mayonnaise on it, and a little hot sauce." Now, when I said a little hot sauce, that normally means Louisiana hot sauce.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, she comes in and brings it to me on a little paper plate, some chips right there beside the glass of tea, and I bit into that. And when I bit into that, I come up out of that chair. I leaped up. It was one motion. I got to burning. I couldn't catch my breath. It was a sight to behold.
Yeah.
And I finally, once I was able to get a breath, "What did you do?" Said, "I did exactly what you told me to do." I said, "What did you do?" And she said, "You wanted a sandwich with mayonnaise, hot sauce, and cheese on it." I said, "Yeah, but what kind of hot sauce did you put on it?" She said, "Well, you had some in the cabinet in there," and I opened it up and put it on there. It was some of that Scorned Woman.
Uh-huh.
And I thought she did it deliberately.
Yeah. That stuff's hotter than a depot stove.
Oh man, you talking about? It was blistering. I mean, my feet got warm. That was the hottest stuff on the earth, and I really did. I accused her of getting back at me, and she says, "No, I didn't," and she was right. Bless her heart, she felt sorry, but I mean, it was awful. That's the hottest stuff I ever put in my mouth.
Well, you told me that story. I got my little telephone out where it says notes.
Yeah.
Put note to self: don't buy hot sauce for John. Oh Lord!
I'd be afraid to put that down the garbage disposal. It'd eat a hole in it.
That's a plastic pipe just melts. Yeah.
Oh,
I bought some of that for myself too, and I tried it one time. And I like hot, but I don't like it hot to the point where you can't feel your tongue. You know?
Yeah.
And this stuff, it's primarily habaneros, and some other peppers involved in it also. But like I said, it's hotter than a depot stove.
It was. Man, I was feeling the effects of that for several days.
Yeah, you keep reliving it.
Oh yeah.
Mine went away too. I just put the top on it real good and tight and threw it in the garbage can. This is Tricks of the Trades on a Saturday morning. John Allen is here, and we'd love to hear from you. 731-891-6161. Text line 731-410-7560. We'll take your call or your text right now and get it right on the air.
We're going to follow up with a few little tips on getting ready for winter because it is cold outside.
Right.
Time to close your vents around your house.
Okay.
Unless you have a slab house, there won't be any vents. So don't do what happened to me a few years ago when I've had several phone calls saying, where do you find those vents?
Yeah.
And then they told me where they were, and I said, I'm sorry, dear, but you don't have a vent in your own slab home, which means
concrete slab.
It's concrete slab, as in no vents. So don't worry about that one. And another thing you might want to do is check your gutters. The leaves are going to start falling.
Yep.
And keep those cleaned out so they don't pull away from your face of board and the water's running behind it and start, rotting things out. Another thing you might want to do is check your outdoor lights. Clean the glasses and get the bugs out of there with a little vacuum cleaner because we're going to have a little, daylight saving time? We're going back to standard time.
Standard time, yeah. November 1, I believe, is the date on that.
Yeah, it won't be long.
Yeah.
It'll, you'll be leaving in the dark and coming home in the dark.
That's true.
So do that. Check all your outside lights. Make sure everything's working. And cut your hedges back on the house. And check for rotted boards. I don't know what it is. I think they put in vitamins or all this additives they're putting in to make trees grow faster.
Yeah.
And the wood's not any good anymore.
It makes them weaker.
It must be. I mean, I never replaced so many wooden windowsills this year, and I have in all my years, but they just don't last. I mean, they will rot. I mean, I'm blessed to have an older home, and it was built in '59, and I just don't have that trouble.
Yep.
And nothing rots. I mean, that wood is hard, but now you can just about cut it with a pocket knife. It's just soft wood, and it just doesn't last long. It absorbs water and won't hold paint. It's all bad. So keep all that in mind when you're doing that, and kind of get ready for the winter, and then come inside. You can take care of some inside projects.
Yeah, my house is not as old as yours, but I don't have any trouble with my windowsills either. And I attribute that to two things. One, I keep my slab vents closed.
Yeah.
And two, the windows are vinyl.
Yeah. Well,
back in my day, the sign of a good home, a good quality home, was to have solid wood windows.
Exactly.
Pella was the way to go back in those days. And I was a little hesitant when I bought my house. One of the things I didn't think I was going to like about it is the fact that it had vinyl windows in it. Well, vinyl windows have come a long way since first the aluminum windows, and then the early vinyl ones were not all that good. But these new ones do a good job.
They're really good. I mean, like you said, you started out with those old metal windows, and they sweated. Oh, they would. You'd find a black ring on your windowsills all the time where the water had run down. Then they went to the vinyl, and they cracked a lot, and you still had a lot of thermal loss there. But now, that's some good stuff.
Yep.
And you don't have to run your paraffin stick up and down the rails like you did on some of the old wood windows.
Yeah.
And
get them to go up and down, right?
That's right. I still do, but I hadn't used it. But I used to keep in my toolbox a stick of paraffin or a bar of soap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And if it was the drawers in your kitchen or your window sashes, because a lot of people that got the older windows and they've been painted shut, they want you to come break them loose. And before everything could be fixed with WD-40, we used to soap them down real good or rub them with paraffin or a bar of soap once we got them broke loose.
Right.
And it did the same thing.
Cool. We got a text on the Victory Honda text line that says, John. That's all. No.
That would be me.
It's a short text.
That's all
It
right.
says, John, do you remember the nail-on sheeting that looked like bricks? I used to see it in the country on old shack-style houses. My question is, did it provide any insulating help or just look like bricks? I think it was asphalt shingle material. I think it was red, and there was a tan color, maybe even a green.
Exactly, it sure was.
Yeah.
I ain't no telling how many rolls of that I put on. You could get it 18 inches wide and 36 inches wide, and it was essentially roll roofing, and the granules, it was stamped on there to look like brick.
Yep,
and the people used it for underpinning. Now, it had no thermal value whatsoever, but it blocked the wind. You see, back in those days, there wasn't any such thing as solid foundations and continuous footings and all that. Your house is set on piers. And that was just strictly a block set out there on the ground, and then you built your house on top of it. Well, with the wind whistling underneath the house, because back in those days you didn't have indoor plumbing. You had an outhouse. So there was no need to underpin your house, and the dog would crawl under there and spend the winter. But when we got to indoor plumbing and things, you didn't want it to freeze or you wanted to cut off the chill, they came up with these ways of underpinning. And that was one of the first ways. I put that on my daddy's house when he lived on Talbot Street. And over, let's say in East Jackson, over around the old Lincoln School and areas over there, that's what we used. Used it for siding. It was a great thing for siding. And it lasted a long time. But then, you know what messed it up?
What's that?
The white coats.
Oh, no.
They came
They
out
improved
there.
it, didn't they?
They did. They found out it had a little asbestos in it.
Oh, no.
As if somebody was going to eat it.
That's one of my favorite things to do on a Saturday is go out and lick my siding.
That's right.
Yeah.
You gnaw on your windowsill, But yeah, that old roll roofing had asbestos in it. That's what made it last so long.
Right.
And but when they figured that was just terrible, when they took it out, roll roofing lost all of its warranties, all of its, it was a good cheap roof. You put roll roofing in your valleys. You put it for shingles, and you put it a lot on low income houses. Put it on your barn, your shed. But when they took the asbestos out of it, it wasn't worth anything. It just, as I told people, I wouldn't guarantee it long enough for me to get down off the ladder.
I hear that. Texter says it never made a good sandwich, as I recall.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely.
You might
right.
could use a little of that scorn woman on it to break it down.
That's true. That would etch it real good. I'll guarantee you that. I remember another product that was popular. I guess it was back in the late '60s, maybe early '70s. Because the '70s were weird.
Yeah.
You know what they say? If you remember the '70s, you probably weren't there. It's one of those deals. But it was called Z-Brick.
Yeah.
You remember that? It was for indoor use.
Yeah, half-inch thick.
Yeah, and they would put it behind, like for a backsplash in the kitchen.
Or behind your wood stove.
Yeah.
Your earth stove.
Earth stove. I had one of those.
Yeah, I did too.
Yep.
Yeah. like caught the house on fire one time.
Yeah, hey, mine did catch on fire one time.
Yeah, but that's what it was used for. As a matter of fact, one of my good friends, and it was a good product. They sold a lot of it over here at Walt Meston Company.
Mm-hmm.
And you could put that up, and it was some good stuff.
Yep. And, you know, from a distance, it did kind of favor brick a little bit.
Well, it did, because if you got it the kind that was stuck on the board, you could grout it, and it would look just like brick.
Wow.
And
that was the expensive model. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we've covered that. Thank you, Texter. Appreciate that help. We got through with the. Let's see. We talked about the sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, we were going. You got anything else on winterizing before we go to the other subject we were going to touch on today?
No, I'm about ready to jump into that right now.
Last Thursday, if you were listening to us on Thursday, we do a modified version of this show during the midday mix on Thursdays in the 2:00 hour. And last week we shared the show with Cassidy Shepard, who's the PR director at the Star Center. Of course, John is on the board at the Star Center. Has been working with them for many years. Juanita and Clark Shaw joined us because they hire a lot of people here at the Casey Jones Village who have disabilities. And Thursday was the first day of October, which is the Disabilities in the Workplace Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of talking about, you know, hiring people with disabilities, how it worked, how they can help you at Star, et cetera, et cetera. And as the show was winding down, John said that'd be a good subject to talk about is modifications in your home if you have a disability. And it doesn't necessarily mean the mental or intellectual disability, physical disability. Hey, we're all getting older, and we can't do some of the things we used to do. That's why John came in at our request to our house about a year ago and took out an old Whirlpool tub and a fiberglass shower and built a walk-in shower for us two old folks. And it is a wonderful, wonderful move.
And the way I feel right now, I may have to start on my house. Yeah, you know, I quite a bit of the things that I do in my construction company is make modifications to people that have, you know, some challenges in life. And you might just be as normal as can be one day, and then the next day something tragic happened to you.
Yep.
Or it may be that you just have a family member that has some difficulty doing things, but regardless of the situation, there are certain modifications that you can do. And there's good ways of doing it, and there are bad ways of doing it. And unfortunately, I have to deal with both of those. But sometimes you literally have to put yourself in that person's shoes in order to use a little common sense to think through a problem on how to make things a little better. For instance, you know, people need a lot of time easier ways to get into their home. And you never thought too much about going up 3 or 4 steps until all of a sudden you couldn't go up 3 or 4 steps. Yep. Or maybe you were in a wheelchair, or maybe you were on crutches, or just whatever the situation may be, and you have to put a ramp in.
Yep.
Well, you know, I've seen some ramps that were put in right, and then I've seen some that look like came off a Dukes of Hazzard story. I mean, they were awful. And just a simple thing on putting a ramp in and knowing what kind of slope to put on it.
Yeah.
And what I've always told people, if you've got a set of steps and from the ground up to, say, your door is, say, 24 inches.
Right.
Well, the way you put a ramp in is for every inch of rise is a foot of ramp. So you've got to put in to gain height of 24 inches, you've got to have 24 feet of ramp.
Yeah.
To get that slope to where you can easily go up it if you were in a chair or had some type of walking disabilities.
Right.
So, you know, the biggest mistake most people make is they don't realize that just the least amount of incline might make it very difficult for someone to, say, roll up unassisted. Or if you're coming down, you don't want to go down at 90 miles an hour and have that abrupt stop at the base of it. But, simple things like that, and then putting railings up for folks to where they can assist themselves is something that you have to do sometimes, and to make your house a little more livable. The other thing that is done, and probably besides ramps, are the second most important thing in your house, and that's your door widths. I remember back in the day when I was first getting started, when you walk in somebody's house, just about all your bathroom doors and all your closet doors were just 2 foot wide. Mm-hmm. And then you might have a 32-inch door on the outside door. Well, I don't know about you, and I can still walk halfway straight, but I can't get through a 2 foot door hardly without turning sideways.
No, I couldn't even do it turning sideways until a month ago.
And for some reason, the height of the doors. So who decided to make the rule that a bathroom door back in the day only needed to be 6 foot tall?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I got a knot on my noggin still. I can feel a scar from growing up because we had a little 2 foot wide and 6 foot tall door that went into the bathroom, but the bathroom was a add-on because we just put indoor plumbing in that house that we were renting.
Yeah.
But widening those doors and knowing how to do that is something that you have to do to accommodate someone that's maybe a little larger, or you have to roll a wheelchair through it. Mm-hmm. And so I always tell people when they're even building, just use 36-inch wide doors everywhere.
Yeah.
It's no big deal, and it costs very little extra money to do that.
And you can't tell the difference when you look at it. You know, you would think putting a bigger door in there would show, but it doesn't.
It doesn't. But put those doors in, get them to swing the right way so that people that have these disabilities can easily get in and get out.
Right.
And then simple things as the doorknobs. Maybe you just had a little arthritis and you can't grip things like you used to. Go into lever handles on everything, and
we've done that, and that was a great thing.
Well, it is, but having a lever handle on your door locks makes it a lot easier for someone that may have some disability in gripping things.
Right, absolutely.
What we got on our text line this morning?
It says, we built a ramp too steep. Grandpa lit out in his wheelchair, and it looked like Talladega. we haven't seen him since.
He just keeps on going.
Grandpa sounds like my kind of guy.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right, man. He puts your baseball cards with the clothespins on your spokes and sound like it going down the road there.
We always thought back in my course, we were Cardinal fans around here, and we'd always fight over the Stan Musial cars because we were sure that they were louder than all the rest of them.
That's right. That's right, man. To tell a kid nowadays to do that on his bicycle.
Yeah.
Number one, they don't ride bicycles. Number two, they don't know what spokes are. And number three, nobody has a clothespin anymore.
That's true. We have a bunch of them in our pantry because we use them to put like on bread and hamburger buns and stuff that. Throw that little piece of plastic twisty thing away and put your clothespin on there. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier. I'm going to try that. My twin grandbabies grandgirls just got new bicycles, bigger bicycles for their birthdays back in June.
Yeah.
I'm going to sneak out there and put some cards on the spokes to see what they think.
I think you ought to do that.
I think so.
I want to see their faces when they do that. Have you handed them a rotary phone yet?
No, hadn't done that.
Oh, they can't dial out. They look at you and said, "What's this?" I said, "That's a telephone." Yeah, right, Pawpaw. And that's funny.
It looks like the Wheel of Fortune on there.
That's right. Where's Vanna?
I never watch Ellen DeGeneres for many, many reasons. Number one, it's my deepest belief that comedy should be funny.
Yeah.
That rule is broken quite often in her case. But there was a little clip of her on YouTube at one time, and she had a millennial young girl on there, and she gave her 2 items and asked her to order a pizza. She gave her a rotary dial telephone and the yellow pages. Lost as last year's Easter egg.
That's right.
She could not do it. Didn't know how to look something up. She in the phone book didn't have a clue as to how to look up a pizzeria. And then they finally gave her the phone number, and she could not dial the phone.
I believe that. Give somebody a map nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
A road map.
Well, I'm kind of glad to see those things go away. I was never good at refolding those things.
Well, that's true. That's true. But
we're gonna take about another 90-second break here from our sponsors. It's Saturday morning. This is Tricks of the Trade. Call us 731-891-6161 or text it in at 410-7560, and we'll see if we can find Grandpa in the wheelchair in the meantime.
This is Tammy Reed with Hickman Realty. Buying and selling a home is your largest investment. Why would you trust that to just anyone? With over 300 properties sold in 2019, no other real estate agent or team sells more real estate in West Tennessee than the Reed Nelson team. Time-tested experience is the key to getting you the most money for your home. Put your largest investment in the trusted hands of the Reed Nelson team. Call me today, 616-6000, 664-1006. Visit our website at reedteam.com.
Known for his portrayal of Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, as well as his role in Apollo 13, Gary Sinise will be the guest speaker for the 56th benefit dinner at Freed-Hardeman University. For more than 30 years, Gary Sinise has stood as an advocate of America's servicemen and women. Join us December 4th for an evening of great food and entertainment while providing scholarships for students. The FHU Benefit Dinner with Gary Sinise. For details, visit fhu.edu.
Hi, I'm Kathy Ursery. Retirement brought on many transitional changes, including selling my home. Living in the Lambeth area neighborhood in Midtown, I wanted a realtor who could communicate to potential buyers the value and passion I placed on my 1920s home. I wanted someone to enjoy my home and the Atlanta area as much as I did. How fortunate I was to run into Brad Greer and mention I was considering selling my home. By mid-May, Brad had sold my house at a price I wanted with a cash offer. I found out why Brad Greer is known as Jackson's real estate resident expert. Personally, I highly recommend Brad to sell or buy your home. He is hands-on, very passionate, skilled, and professional. How many realtors climb on your roof for you, offer paint color recommendations, and are on call 24/7.
I'm Brad Greer with Greer Real Estate Group. Jen, John, and the other agents at Greer Real Estate Group don't do family planning, but we do know how to help people with buying or selling a house. Give Greer Real Estate Group a call at 300-4100 and let us show you why our clients refer us to their friends.
This is WTJS, Alamo, Jackson, and WKBL, Covington, News Talk, West Tennessee.
It is Saturday morning. This is Tricks of the Trade. John Allen on 93.1, and we've got about another 12 minutes or so. And we were talking about modifications for disabilities. Now, you talked about some of the things, the doors and showers and that sort of stuff. There, and you can get into a lot of money doing home modifications. I know there are some situations for people that are wheelchair bound.
Right.
That actually you can get you can lower the cabinets, you can lower the sink height.
Right.
In fact, I have been in houses that were built for people with disabilities, and it's a little bit different look because when you walk up to the sink, you have to bend over to get to it.
That's right.
But you got to remember who it was built for.
That's right. And then have knee spaces in there so that they can roll under.
Right.
And then just the simple things like in the bathroom, you sometimes have to modify your showers to have roll-in showers. We just completed one of those this week for someone, and to where they have the ability that they can sit in a modified wheelchair and roll right into the shower, take a shower. The valves are lower,
right?
You know, the spray wands, and to where they can totally do what they need to do unassisted, and then come right back out. And what's become really popular is what's called a wet bath, to where the whole room is like a big shower.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about water splashing and all that. It's like walking into a locker room with all your fixtures in there. And it's a pretty neat little thing, and it's very popular in many different types of settings.
Yep. Yeah, we discussed that when we remodeled our bathroom and didn't go that way, and we ran into a couple of things. We were hoping to get a zero threshold, and we probably could have done that had the house been on normal foundation,
right.
crawl space. But because it was on a slab, that would have meant jackhammering the slab out and starting over, and it got cost prohibitive to do that. But you were able to do that with about a 2.5-inch rise, which you can get a wheelchair in.
Right.
We made the opening extra wide so you could get in there and actually turn the wheelchair. And all of our spigots and everything are at a height where a chair person could use them. So.
And then you have things like people being able to adjust water valves and get the temperature of something just right, and be consistent. Those are things that are important to folks that have those particular needs.
Right.
So things have changed greatly in the world of working habitations with people with disabilities. They're able to get things modified where they can maintain their independence and function in the world just like everybody else, and that enhances their quality of life, and they're able to show their abilities instead of their disabilities.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
So it's a great thing to do, and it's a good business to kind of be in and to help somebody and to see them being able to use those things and get some of their freedom and independence back. It just makes the world better for everybody, especially them.
It makes it more normal for them, if that's the proper term.
Right. That's right.
I mentioned on the Thursday show, sometimes I think they're the normal ones and we're the weirds,
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah.
Yep, they're not as hard to please sometimes as we are. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, and there are some agencies here in town that can help you with that if you're not familiar with what modifications are available.
Right.
And JCIL, Jackson Center for Independent Living, is one of those.
That's right. Beth will fix you up.
Yeah, Beth James and her crew over there will do that, and Star Center can help you with that also. So. And a lot of contractors like John who can take that project on and make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's very easy in ways to adapt to things like that. Just as simple as maybe putting up grab bars and things in the bathroom and the kitchens, and helps on the ramps, being able to just to steady yourself and have something to grab onto.
Yeah.
Just so everything feels normal again.
Well, even if it's only, in my case, a 2.5, 3-inch step over rather than a 6-inch like you were going into a fiberglass shower, even that little step over, the older you get, and if you have leg or back problems, arthritis problems, balance is one thing that tends to go away. And to have that thing there just to steady yourself. I mean, you're not going to swing from it like Tarzan and Cheetah, but although you could.
That's about the truth.
Yeah, but just to have that there to steady yourself getting in and out. It's one of the best things we've ever done as far as making modifications to our house, and we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Tell you what, I noticed the difference just in myself. I used to could run across the top of a roof like a squirrel, and now I need a grab bar or something up there to hold on to, because balance is something that's one of the first things to go.
Yep, it is. Oh, it's one thing I learned when I was watching you do that, your guys and you do that shower, when you put in the grab bars, because we had to rip it all out down to the studs because we retiled and did all that stuff, but. Everybody has had that little problem with a towel bar or something like that, and it'll get a little bit loose, and next thing you know, it's pulled the screws out of the wall and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of the mental picture I had of a grab bar, only bigger. But no, that's not the case. The grab bar, you put a 2x6.
Right, we put blocking in the wall between the studs so you'd have something to screw to.
Right.
And I mean, it's just like a component of the house now. Yep. I mean, you can literally swing on it. And,
yeah, you could.
And it, they make all these crazy little anchors now that supposedly will hold up everything, and these even these kind that stick on the wall, then you can pull them off after you get your Christmas tree off.
Right.
They don't work. But anyway, when you do things like this, you need to put it in permanent, and there's just nothing that beats screwing into a piece of wood for stability.
A big old slab.
A big old slab of wood and get it properly anchored. That's not a job for sheetrock screws.
No, or roofing nails.
Or plastic anchors and things of that nature.
There you go.
Yeah.
We got about 90 seconds more of commercials. We need to jump in here. We'll be right back and wrap this thing up on this Saturday morning. It is Tricks of the Trade with John Allen.
Here and there, but
Hush, sissy. Oh, well, hey, Brenda.
Hey, Tony. Got a question for you.
Variety show, The Token Show, is coming to Freed-Hardeman University Friday, December 4th. As seen at the Ryman, The Token Show will bring
Well, I'm going to tell you a little story, little true story.
Shoot.
You know, I always make fun of people that make things look so easy on television, and how they tell you how to fix everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that happened the other day. There was a gentleman, young man, who decided he was going to rebuild the inside of his toilet.
Right.
He'd gone out and bought him a new fluid master.
Oh, boy.
And he got him a corky flapper, and he put it on.
Mm-hmm.
And in the midst of putting all of that on, I don't know how he really did it, but while he had both of his hands down in the tank of that toilet, screwing things and putting things on,
right,
he broke the flush handle. You know, the thing that lifts the flapper up in the air.
Yeah.
So he had to go get him another one. He calls me up. He says, I'm almost embarrassed, but I can't get this thing fixed. I said, what do you mean? He says, I got to change the handle out on my toilet. I broke it.
Mm-hmm.
And the one they gave me was this little plastic thing where I had a metal one before. And I said, well, it's all right. They're kind of universal. You can do it. But he says, I cannot get this thing to tighten up. Now, I already knew what he had done.
Mm-hmm.
But so I went over there and I said, give me your pliers, and I got the pliers, and I just reached down with my hand, started screwing it on there. And wait a minute, what did you do? I said, I just put it on there and then tightened it up. I couldn't get it I couldn't get the nut on there.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, you were going the wrong way. He says, no. He looked up and he says, righty tighty, lefty loosey.
That's right.
And I said, except on toilet handles. It's threaded backwards.
Duh.
So you turn the nut the other way to tighten it up, and it spun right on. The guy turned beet red in the face. He says, well, I never. I said, that's right. You never did you?
You never did. You never will.
And you never will. So, you know, it is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey on nuts, except on toilet handles.
Toilet handles.
Yeah. You got to screw it, you know, put the nut on backwards, and then you can tighten it. Otherwise, if it wasn't that away, every time you flushed the toilet, you'd be loosening the nut every time.
We're going to close it out with that piece of excellent knowledge. And this little thing from our texter this morning, it says, old carpenters love ignorant people.
That's right.
And with that, we'll see you next week on Tricks of the Trade.
Good day.